Doesn't sound like he's busy.
Did he pick up something? Bottom, lower right hand. There you go. A lot of times they've got that on for us already. Yeah, it'll boot up.
Just in case the residents. No truck number.
Right.
Good morning, Dave.
How are you? I'm doing well.
The cleanest dirty clothes.
Good work.
That works when you wear the yellow.
I always thought that was a great line from that Chris Christopherson song. Fumbled through my closet, found my cleanest
Right.
dirty shirt.
Dirty shirt.
Probably one of the nicest times.
Yeah.
Of the,
Well, if I would have stayed in school, I could have been wearing nicer clothes and telling you what to do.
There's some days I wouldn't mind that.
Let's get a naughty roll.
I think you are
Oh, they're feeling proud.
What are you up to? I don't think any of us are on the pictures on the wall.
Let's call to order our Sherburne County Board of Commissioners meeting of August 3rd. Please rise for a moment of silence and the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, at this time then, I'd be looking for a motion to approve our regular meeting proposed agenda, unless there are any additions or deletions. Yes, Commissioner Messelt.
Thank you, Chair Danielewski. With the board's permission, we would like to remove item 2.16 from the consent agenda and treat that as a separate item. Andrew is here and would like to speak to this item and introduce our champion.
Perfect. And Barb, did you have your hand up for something?
I was just gonna move to,
Okay. All right, then. Motion to approve the agenda with that changed as mentioned by Commissioner Brandt,
I'll second.
seconded by Commissioner Dolan. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Okay, moving on to our consent agenda. I would be looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda with the removal of item number 2.16 for separate consideration.
Madam Chair, I'll move the consent agenda as amended.
Motion made by Commissioner Dolan,
I'll second.
seconded by Commissioner Brandt. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. All right, moving on to item number 2.16. Consideration of authorizing Kevin Davis to attend the 2021 National Rodeo Competition, September 28th to October 1st in Loveland, Colorado. Dave, are you going to tell us about this awesome event?
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners. I'm actually just going to introduce Tanner Anderson, our maintenance coordinator, who
Okay.
has the privilege of working with Kevin Davis, who competed in a 2019 competition for maintenance. And so, but I just wanted to introduce Tanner, who's going to bring Kevin up and
Perfect.
congratulate him on a great accomplishment.
Thank you. As I say, 2019, that must have been pre-COVID.
Yes.
Okay. Hello.
Morning.
Good morning.
Forgive me, it's my first time with the
Yeah.
audience like this, but yeah, I'll say they had a year off, so Kevin competed in the 2019 Minnesota Maintenance Expo competition. Kevin, he said I got a little brief information from him. He was hired on a hot August 14th, 2000 here at the county. Remembers his first day of driving a pea green Nova to work and likes collecting classic cars. Did not compete in the rodeo the first year that he was here, but he's been competing in the rodeo ever since. And he said he's finished in the top 10 at least 3 times over the years. Last year, or 2 years ago, 2019, there was 92 drivers in the competition. Includes 7 driving events, a DOT inspection. Total points is 800 points they can get. Kevin scored 688, which earned him second place, 2 points behind the first place finisher. So those 2 guys will go out to Loveland, Colorado to compete in a national event, which is the first time that I think we've sent anybody out there that I'm aware of, and it's fairly new with the expo of sending people out to this national event, so it'll be fun to see how the 2 get to tag team and do the event together.
Awesome. Okay. Kevin, congratulations. That is an awesome, awesome achievement. And did you want to say a few words? Your spokesperson spoke for you.
Just, thanks for the opportunity, and I'll do the best I can to represent Minnesota the best we can in the county, so.
Well, we have no doubt you will.
Yeah.
We thank you for doing a job that is especially difficult. Snowplow driving is
It can
got to
be.
be extremely, extremely difficult. I think everybody should take an opportunity to do a ride-along so they can really see it from that windshield perspective.
There's never a dull moment.
I'm sure there's not. Well,
Yeah.
congratulations and good luck out there. Looking forward to hearing about it when you get back.
All
All
right,
right.
sounds good.
Thank you very much. Take care. All right, so then with that, I would be looking for a motion to approve authorizing Kevin Davis to attend the 2021 National Rodeo Competition in Loveland, Colorado.
I so move.
Motion made by Commissioner Brandt,
I'll second.
seconded by Commissioner Dolan. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Good luck. Okay, next item on our agenda is going to be any announcements. Bruce, do you have anything for us?
Thank you, Chair Danielewski. Just a couple of quick announcements, and I'll defer one to the county attorney when she's ready. First of all, just a reminder, tonight is National Night Out for many of our communities. It should be a beautiful night, although there is still some air quality concerns, but hopefully folks will get out and reconnect with the neighbors and hopefully get a chance also to maybe spend a brief amount of time with our law enforcement and public safety personnel. Second, just a note for everybody that we are recognizing our county employees for the amazing work during the COVID-19 pandemic over the last year. So there is an ice cream social scheduled from 11:45 to 1:15 today in the cafeteria. And thank you, commissioners and department heads for serving the ice cream today. And then just a reminder for the county board, a budget workshop coming up this Thursday and Friday, August 5th and 6th. And we will ask you just to mark off a lunch option I think Keisha's handed that out, and just keep in mind that we'll be asking for a lot of your time and attention over those 2 days. With that, I'll turn over to the county attorney.
Good
Madam
morning.
Chair, Commissioners, for your edification, the Sherburne County Health and Human Services, the Sheriff's Department, and my office are hosting the 4th Annual Faith Community Outreach Event. It's set for August 11th. It starts at 10 a.m. It's a 2-hour program. We are feeding people cookies in an effort to get them through the door. It's focusing again on mental health and substance abuse trends. We will have a number of wonderful speakers. So we would ask you, you're welcome to join us. If you know people in the pastoral community who are in leadership roles, please encourage them to join us as well. Thank you.
Thank you. And I noticed on here, were you going to talk about the RFP for the lobbyist under your announcements?
Yeah, I can.
Just
Sorry about that. It's on the top of the second page there, so you're ahead of me there. Thank you. Yes, Commissioners, we did receive 5 responses to the request for proposals for the lobbyist. I will pull them up here real quick and to give you the runout. The solicitation was an open solicitation published online in the paper and on some websites. We also did actively solicit from 6 of the firms that do business or have done business with us or the state or federal level. We received proposals from Lockridge, Grindle, Naunan, Flaherty and Hood, David Turch and Associates, Larkin Hoffman, and the Jacobson Law Group. Lockridge, Grindle, Naunan, and Larkin Hoffman put in a bid for state and or federal or both. Other than that, Flaherty and Hood bid was for state only. David Turch and Associates was for federal only, and Jacobson Law Group was state only. Prices for the state ranged from a low of $36,000 to a high of $60,000. We are currently paying $36,000 for the state function. Federal proposals were as low as $48,000 to as high as $60,000, and we are currently paying $48,000. So essentially somewhat within range. One of the 2 proposals for joint bid did have a discount if doing joint state and federal. So the question for the county board is next steps. Are the commissioners interested in participating in an interview and a process to recommend to the board a contract or contracts for the 2022 legislative session? My intent was to have the county engineer, county health and human services director, and the assistant county administrator for economic development purposes participate in the interviews, plus then 1 or 2 commissioners and myself. We could also, if you want, ask the county attorney's office maybe if they have time to sit in as well, although they will obviously review the letter of engagement at the end of the day.
Okay. What are the wishes of the board? I would be willing to be one of the commissioners to sit in. Is this something that we want to be a part of?
Yeah, I think there's probably value in having a couple of us sit there. I think myself, I probably wouldn't want to be in that with some personal relationships I have with some of the groups. So I think it'd be best if it ran. Barb, if either one of you want to serve on it, I'd be more than happy to support that.
And I was thinking that the chair probably should be the first one, and I don't know if you really want to or not. But.
It's totally the board's purview. I mean, lobbying is a key function, and it really is more, I'll call it board and administrator focused, although our substantive areas, it's important that we feel comfortable. So it's totally the board's call.
Yeah.
Barb, you're currently vice chair, right, Barb?
Yeah.
So you'd be working with this group next
Yeah.
year, so I think that would make a lot of sense, chair, vice chair.
All right.
Okay.
Do we need a motion on that then, or is that just,
Do you want a motion? I think we're,
no?
I think we're all right.
Okay. All right. Okay, so then Barb and myself will then sit in on that interview process.
Perfect.
All
Great,
right.
we'll get that scheduled.
Okay. Also, being as we did talk about the employee appreciation event, is this the appropriate time to read the proclamation?
You could sure do it now, or you could do it assuming you're okay with that, I think we added it as item 11, right, Keisha, on the regular?
6.11.
Okay,
6
okay, then
11.
we'll wait then. All right, I didn't see that on item number 11. I must not have an updated one, because I don't have it.
Yeah, I think this one was printed on Friday and we
Okay,
sent
got
out
it.
The updated was the RVA face sheet and the attachment that was sent to your email.
Okay,
On
all right.
Friday, I believe.
I did see that. Okay, thank you, Keisha. All right, moving on then. At this time, we will have our public hearing, holding our public hearing to consider proposed amendments to the SSTS Low Interest Loan Program ordinance. And we have, Dave, you're going to walk us through this one?
I will, Madam Chair. So this program continues to be extremely popular, and we're on par to exceed last year's loan amounts. And the proposed amendments here would only strengthen this program ordinance. SSTS replacement on small lots can be difficult when meeting required setbacks. So one of the proposed amendments would be to allow for cost of replacement of a well when necessary on the applicant's property if it's necessary to meet setback to the repair or install of a new septic. The other proposed amendment would allow for loan proceeds to be commenced for costs that have occurred prior to the application being approved in our department. That would be on a strict case-by-case basis. And the third proposed amendment would set a maximum and a minimum interest rate for loans to prevent interest rates from possibly being too low or too high. Currently, we look at the CPIU, and that's adjusted on an annual basis. And I have just written in there 1%, I believe I have 1% and 3%, but that's up to the board. You know, you guys can, if you feel that that is, a different interest rate should be set, that's up for discussion. I just threw that in there for purpose of submitting this proposed amendment. And that is on page 7 of 9 of the proposed amendment.
Yeah.
1.2% nor greater than 3%.
Any questions for Dave? Thoughts?
I can just give some quick comments. I think this is, watching this program and seeing it get implemented originally and then watching us keep coming back to it and amending it to make sure that more people can use it and it's more useful. It's been a good thing to see. I like the way we're tracking along and making sure that we iron out little pieces, and it's kind of a lesson for us that we don't have to get it exactly right the first time, and we can come back and we can always change those policies as we go to serve the public better. Personally, from the interest rate side, I think, that's another thing that we can come back and adjust at any point in time, but I think the 1 to 3 is more than sufficient for the current market. It's not a program intended for us to make money. It's a compliance and a service to the public that, so I don't think it's as important, and I think that aligns us with the market at least probably for the next 24 months at least, so.
Great.
Barb, any thoughts?
Well, I would agree with Tim. I really appreciate your work on this, and I do think it serves a great public service, and I think the interest rate is fine, so, yeah.
I was just curious on the interest rate, and I think the program is great. I think it's important that we be a part of helping people to upgrade their systems and give them the opportunity to do it at a reasonable cost. But the interest, I'm curious, would it, instead of it always coming back if it needs adjustment, would we be better served by putting like a X amount above whatever the going rate is? Is there something that we can determine would be a like 0.5% above or something of that nature that would recoup our costs, but yet, like Ms. Commissioner Dolan said, we're not here to make money on it either.
Correct, Madam Chair. So as you recall, the version before this last amendment, it was just a set 3%. And that's what we had for, I think, 3 years while the program was in place. And then when we made the change to allow for small businesses to apply, that's when we decided, the board decided to have it based off the CPIU Midwest, whatever that interest rate is. I went back and I looked at what historical interest rates were, and when the economy is a little sketchy, it can fluctuate quite a bit, obviously. So that's why I thought setting a minimum of 1.2 and a maximum of 3, so it's adjusted annually. It could be anywhere between 1.2 and 3. That seems to be a reasonable spot, in my opinion, so that, as you guys know, so the county is not making money,
Right.
We're not losing money, and it's a value to our residents.
Okay. I just had thought that, that the possibility of setting something that would be an X amount above whatever the going rate at that time is would keep it from having to constantly be coming back.
Sure,
when changes
sure.
happen, but I'm fine with the way it's written as well. It was just a thought.
Yeah, and I get that, but again, it fluctuates greatly, so that's why I thought having setting parameters
Okay.
on both sides.
All right. Well then, is there any other questions for Dave?
Nope.
That being said, then, I would be looking for, I have to open the public hearing first. Is there, I'm opening the public hearing at 9:19. Is there anybody wishing to come forward and speak to this? Second call for anyone to come forward to speak to this. Third call. Anybody wishing to speak to this? Seeing no one, I will then close the public hearing at 9:20. Bring it back to the board. Looking for then a motion.
Madam Chair, I'll move approval of the amended ordinance as outlined in the packet.
Motion made by Commissioner Dolan,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Brandt. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
All right, moving on then to the next item on our agenda is our open forum. Keisha, is there anybody signed up to speak to open forum?
There is nobody signed up, Madam Chair.
All right, nobody signed up for open forum. Moving on then to our regular agenda, starting out with 6.1, which is we're going to get a Great River Regional Library budget presentation. And Ms. Punzak and her associate. Always look forward to these yearly updates, and I know that you guys work hard to keep the budget costs in line.
Yes,
But
thank
still
you.
providing a great service for the residents, so thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. And I appreciate the support of Sherburne County. I know Commissioner Phoebe isn't here tonight or this morning, but she is our chair for the board, so I'm sure she's kept you apprised as we've been working with the library to offer services to everyone across the region. I have with me today our accounting coordinator, Amy Anderson. She has joined the team as of December, so this is her first budget cycle. And she's gonna walk you through the details of how we set the budget this year, and then we'll talk through some of the other initiatives that will be coming as a result.
Perfect, thank you. Welcome.
Good morning. As you know, the library receives the majority of its operating and capital funding from the 6 counties that it serves. Board members recognize that the library services provide a core government function to all residents and share in the goal of ensuring high-quality library access in the most cost-effective manner possible. This year, our board adopted the budget on July 20th. Several goals were set by our trustees as part of the process. The first being keeping the county shares as flat as possible, and the second is the use of reserves in the overall 2022 budget. To keep contributions flat, shares were calculated using the library's 2021 operating budget of $7,141,482, which was not a change from the 2021 budget. As a result, Sherburne County will have a $33 increase and contribute $360,295. To incorporate the use of reserves, $315,000 was incorporated from the library's unassigned fund balance. A preliminary spend down was also presented to our board and adopted in July. The 2022 budget supports the expansion of the library's fine-free initiatives, which began with juvenile late fees in 2019. Fines are a declining revenue source for us, and they're also not guaranteed. Planning for a significant reduction to this revenue line creates more accuracy, especially because our budgeting process ends before we know the state funding contribution amounts. The goal of expanding this idea are to reduce financial barriers that may prevent patrons from accessing library materials and to increase the amount of time our staff spends assisting library users in a positive way. There is not yet a policy in place, and we are excited to share our work with you as it progresses. At this point, plans include researching how other local counties have adopted and implemented their own fines-free programs. And now Karen will share some other things that the library is working on in your county, and we'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you.
The other big initiative that will be coming to some of our libraries next year is the expansion of open hours. When we were talking about setting the budget, the commissioners were talking about, okay, how can we re-engage our communities in using the library and use our budget as best we can? And so some of our library services coordinators are now taking a look at their current staffing and their open hours schedules, and we're hoping to add a couple of hours at most libraries across the region. And in Big Lake and Becker, they're a strong possibility to happen. We don't yet have details yet because we just got the budget passed a couple of weeks ago. But we are looking at expanding open hours in those two locations to increase public access next year. And then we just want to thank, again, Sherburne County on their partnership with the Story Stroll project this year. That has been a really positive way for people to engage with literacy and our parks. And I know it goes through the end of this week, I think. So thanks again for those that partnership, and we look forward to finding other possibilities for working with the county in your parks and anywhere else. So if you have any questions about how the budget was put together or the initiatives that we're hoping to move forward with that budget, we'd be happy to answer those. Thank you.
Any questions for?
No, I don't think so. I think, you know, we have the benefit of having Lisa on the board,
Yeah.
who's both, you know, the president of that, the chair of that board, and very passionate about the library. So she keeps us very up to date.
Yes.
But it's good to see your guys' faces in person as well after a long drought.
Yeah,
So.
of virtual meetings.
Yes, you finally get to use your space.
Well, we were using it,
Yeah.
just different format. Yes, I do want to concur with Commissioner Dolan's comments. And the story stroll, or the story walk, I heard so much positive feedback about that, and just so much chatter and sharing of pictures and stuff on Facebook. So it was very cool to be able to have the library being represented along with the beauty of our parks and our environment and stuff. So that was really cool. Whoever thought of that idea, genius. Hopefully it can become like an annual possibility. And I know that you had a really good spokesperson kick it off in that video.
Yes.
Did an amazing job of introducing the thought to the community and stuff. So thank you so much. And we appreciate working with you guys in partnership as well. And I'm really excited to hear the possibility of some expanded hours as we continue to grow. I think that's going to become more and more necessary.
Yes, it's nice to be able to talk about what might be possible now. You know, COVID was a challenging year for everyone, but it brought some new ideas and new thinking to how we do our services, and there's a lot of opportunities coming from that. Open hours and fines free are both part of that.
Yeah.
So was the story strolls.
Yeah, no, we think on the same thing. We've been pushed into doing things differently as well. So sometimes getting pushed outside your comfort zone doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad idea either. So good things come of it. Commissioner Brad, did you want to say
Yeah,
anything?
I just want to thank you for all your hard work. It's been amazing to watch how everything has gone forward, and that story stroll was actually just delightful. I know I was at the Woodland Trails when we opened that up, and it was really fun to watch all the families, so.
Yeah, it definitely was. So did you have any other information or updates for us? Includes it?
Not
and-
at this time. We're happy to answer any questions you might have. We can talk more about the fines free, but like Amy said, we just know we want to do it and we have a budget that will support it. So the next step will be
Right.
figuring out how we roll that out.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be a big change for a lot of people, and it'll be really interesting. It'll be an opportunity to create some internal efficiencies. We spend a lot of time collecting 10 cents across the desk and what that all means. And we want to be really clear when we're talking about this too. If people don't bring their books back, we still will bill if the books never come back. It's just that one or 2 day late fee that just needs to be gone. It's why people don't come back to the library after coming the first time sometimes, especially for kids with transportation barriers. So we're really looking forward to being on the leading edge with that initiative. Hennepin County's already done it, so we have some patrons who are used to using their system who also use ours, and it'll just make it a little more seamless too.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great idea. You can always, if the book doesn't ever come back, there's always a way to collect that revenue then.
Yeah.
So, no, I think those are great ideas, and very much appreciative of the fact that you're doing all of this, and the budget for 2022 only shows a $33 change, which I think is remarkable. You do a lot for, I think we get a lot of bang for that buck, so.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day. All right, moving on then, we have an update on the Retired Senior Volunteers, otherwise known as the RSVP program. And we have Jennifer. Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for having us. I'm Jennifer Wooker, the new director of RSVP, and I have Heather Brooks with me today, our Sherburne County Program Coordinator. We're delighted to be here to share with you updated information about our program. To start off, I wanted to just mention that we have a new logo. You'll see and you'll hear us name ourselves AmeriCorps Seniors, RSVP. That's because our federal grantee, the Corporation for National and Community Service, went through a rebranding, and we're now a program of AmeriCorps Seniors. Still RSVP, still the same mission is to foster volunteer engagement for adults over age 55 to improve lives and strengthen communities. Another change that I wanted to mention is we have adopted the Sherburne County logo on all of our materials as a main supporter of our program. And so we use that in our publications as well. We really appreciate the support that we receive from Sherburne County, and look forward to growing with you as we move forward here. Keisha, we'll have you, oh, I have control of that. Okay, thank you. RSVP enhances community engagement and social capital by fostering a sense of belonging for older adults in our community. We promote healthy aging and volunteer engagement to improve the quality of life in Sherburne, Benton, Stearns, and now Wright counties. We support 150 local human service organizations that are nonprofit, licensed healthcare, and government, and that number is growing. We have collaborations with community partners and help to define what community issues and needs are for volunteers to contribute and be involved in making a difference. We also recruit volunteers for both ongoing and one-time volunteer positions. And we assess, and match individual interests and skills to service opportunities in our communities. Right now, we're supporting 898 active members involved with Rsvp. That number is down a little bit from before COVID. But we actually were very lucky to have 898 volunteers still involved in 2020. Our staff did a lot to redevelop different avenues for service. We continue to hear from our volunteers throughout COVID that they were really looking and yearning for that connection to community still, and ways to be involved and make a difference. So in 2020, we did have 61,488 volunteer hours. A lot of those were within food security and all of the local food shelves we partner with. As we know, hunger didn't go away in COVID, and the need to still have volunteers out within those food shelves to distribute food was great. And so we did have 221 active members of Rsvp involved at over 14 food shelves in our 3-county region. That was before we took on Wright County, and also food delivery and Meals on Wheels programs as well. We had healthy aging was a focus in 2020, where we provided over 9,000 hours of service, primarily with companionship for older adults that were isolated, and worked with organizations to provide volunteers for faith and action programs, as well as friendly visiting phone programs and our very own senior friendship circles. We provided over 2,000 volunteer hours in financial stability, helping through local tax aid programs and providing that tax assistance. Within disaster response, we had close to 4,000 hours, primarily in sewing those PPE masks. We had folks everywhere contributing to that success. Within the areas of health and wellness, we have volunteers that are involved in evidence-based health promotion classes and within the local community centers and through Centra Care, and assisting with health screenings and advanced care planning. And then we had a lot of volunteers we have involved with transportation through our local transportation programs, and they gave 8,500 hours in transportation in 2020. And the last thing I wanted to mention was to highlight our K-12 education. That is one of our focus areas with our federal grant to provide volunteers to assist as reading tutors and mentors and classroom helpers with K-12 education. Of course, our volunteers were not involved for most of last school year in person, but we did organize virtual avenues for them to serve as reading and mentors and tutors. We also have a program that's the Readers Theater program, and I'm going to turn it over to Heather. She's just going to share with you local information about our Readers Theater program.
Hello. Yes, so Readers Theater, this is one of the programs we run in-house. And just this past year, we celebrated our Silver Jubilee down here in Sherburne County. So we've been running for 25 years, just this past school year of 2020 and 2021. It launched in 1996, and really that purpose is to support the educational achievements of children while building a learning community of volunteers who also interact with the students and just share that joy of reading. We kind of fluctuate between 13 to 25 volunteers who just really make literature come alive by reading children's stories using their voices, gestures, and facial expressions. Each session takes about 30 to 35 minutes, and that consists of an intro, the reading, and different interactions with the children within the schools. Volunteers get together about once a week to prepare and perform the stories. And I do want to point out Ann Hove there. She's in the middle. She's actually wearing antlers in that picture. She was just in the Elk River Star News in this past year talking about Readers Theater. And she just really believes this is one of the last few remaining reading enrichment activities for students. So we're very lucky to have her. She's been part of the program since almost the beginning. Volunteers just play such a significant role in also promoting the schools within the community. They just really love to be recognized by kiddos. They get thank you cards. Anne talked about how one kiddo in the grocery store recognized her as one of the readers. So it's just a really special program. Right now, this is being offered in about 19 schools in the Elk River area, and that is, ISD 728, the Big Lake School District, as well as some of the private schools like St. Andrews. And we have 73 scripts prepared, and that includes a lot of the all-time favorites like Dr. Seuss stories, as well as some books about school issues like bullying and kindness and how to be nice to others, as well as historical favorites. I do want to point out that the pandemic, obviously we couldn't go into the schools in this past year, which was a bit of a bummer since this was our Silver Jubilee. But we did get creative, and you'll see on the bottom that little Zoom screen. So we started recording the stories, and then those could be sent off to different classrooms that requested it. I'm just gonna, very cool. And I do want to point out some of the other RSVP service within Sherburne County. That 2020 impact, we had 209 active volunteers in Sherburne County, and they assisted in programs of 52 different agencies. A lot of these partners included like Care Food Shelf, Big Lake Community Food Shelf, Guardian Angels, Great River Faith in Action up in Becker, M Health Fairview up in Princeton, Open Doors for Youth, among many others, even right here at the Sherburne Government Center. One of our really big roles is, if you notice that front greeter desk, I'm sure you guys know that that's an RSVP volunteer sitting there at all times. We had about 7,837 hours were contributed back to organizations within Sherburne County, and this brought back a value of $223,667 back to our community. And that number is really based on, there's this estimated national value of each volunteer hour. So our goals moving forward, written our federal grant, our work plan is to really focus on food security and that K-12 education, especially coming out of the pandemic. We're also looking to enhance physical, mental, and emotional health and wellness promotion, and then ultimately increase volunteerism, of course. So yeah, pictured here, we do have some of the Sherburne Government Center employees at one of those COVID-19 vaccination clinics. And we did have a lot of volunteers in the RSVP program help at that. We had 22 RSVP volunteers, and they served over 176 hours. So really helping support combating the pandemic.
Thank you, Heather. All right, so we've got some information for you related to volunteerism and how it supports health and wellness, especially improving the health and well-being of older adults. We have got research from the Corporation for National Community Service, again, which is our federal funding entity, that finds that volunteerism in older adults experience decreased anxiety because of their involvement in the community, decreased depression and loneliness by 88% compared to their peers that don't volunteer. And the study also found that 84% of volunteers supported stable or improved health after 1 year of service. So in January, just this past January, we did a survey with our RSVP volunteers. We had 333 of them complete our survey, and we found that 91% of our volunteers feel that sense of connection with community. 97% say that RSVP helps them make a difference. 98% said that RSVP provides them with a sense of purpose, and 99% would recommend RSVP to a friend.
Those are good results.
They are great. We're very pleased with that. And these are two of our volunteers in Sherburne County pictured. So lastly, you will see our pie graph here and where we get our funding and how those streams come through. As you know, we rely on local government aid to maximize the AmeriCorps seniors federal funding within our communities here and locally. And so you'll see where the funding is and how it's distributed, both with program operating dollars and volunteer benefits as well. We do provide mileage reimbursement to our volunteers and accident and liability insurance that just covers them while they're volunteering. And I think you had seen a picture earlier with some of our Sherburne County representatives and RSVP staff. We did a volunteer recognition drive-through events last week with thanks and praise and ice cream treats for our volunteers that were able to step through and receive that. And then we have our staff, Heather here, that works 30 hours a week, specifically to Sherburne County, to really create those personalized experiences for our volunteers and finding out what their interests and skills and time frame are. We're really about building those relationships and connecting them to service opportunities that's a good fit for them, as well as to make a difference in the community. As you have seen, we are asking for $85,084 to support RSVP in Sherburne County, which is slightly down from last year. So at this point, we're going to turn it over to you, Madam Chair, and see if there's any questions from the group.
All right. Any questions? Yes.
I'm just wondering if you will help answer a question. There's a rumor that at least one of the servers at the thank you event had some ice cream melt a little too fast, and I don't know if it was Dan or Commissioner Brandt, so I'm trying to get the skinny on it, the scoop.
Can you answer that question, Heather?
I think everyone was really spilling
Yeah.
the ice cream all over. It was pretty hot that day.
That
I
was
think
one of the hot
Bruce
ones.
had a little trouble with ice cream
A
also.
little.
Just to set that record straight.
Yeah.
No,
Keisha covered for me though, so.
yeah, no, it is a wonderful program, and it is so awesome to see the amount of volunteerism that does come forward. And I know that there's always hopefully getting the message out for other people that would want to also participate in volunteering, because it's a win-win all the way around. No ifs, ands, or buts. So I'm very appreciative. I know that the volunteers that helped through the COVID vaccine clinics and stuff were much appreciated. Everything went a lot smoother, and I know that it helped everybody else focus more on other parts of the vaccine clinics, so they were very, very much appreciated. And as is this group of active seniors. So anybody out there that has spare time, please contact the AmeriCorps Senior RSVP program. They're always looking for more volunteers. And it looks like you guys have a good time.
Oh, we have a good time. Yeah. The work is fun, and working and supporting older adults and being involved in the community is very rewarding, and we really appreciate your support in making that happen here.
Yep. And I really appreciate the emphasis on going through K-12. I think that is a great way to give back to the littles and kids as they're going through. I mean, you bring a different perspective at times and some knowledge and information that you gather over time as well. So
Thank you for bringing that up. We are focusing on a new program to implement within the schools through volunteer and action teams to go into the schools other than Raiders Theater and bring a service component with them, so that there's more intergenerational
Yes.
work being done as well.
I think that's highly important, especially for young ones that maybe don't have the benefit of having their grandparents close. And
Absolutely.
Stuff. So yeah, that is so important. And I got to say one thing. It's amazing how, as you were young and growing up and you did great, good things and got recognized for good achievements, ice cream was always part of it, and we don't outgrow it. We're still doing ice cream.
Absolutely.
To say thank you and to congratulate people on their achievements and stuff. So
Absolutely.
all right.
Thank you so
Other
much.
questions? No. Well, thank you.
I just want to say thank you also, because it's a great opportunity for everyone on both sides, both the volunteer and the people receiving the services, and it's really impacted our community significantly. And thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Moving then on to receiving an update from the Initiative Foundation, and we have Carl Newbanks with us, who is is that supposed to be Grants and Development Manager?
Yes, grants and
I
development
figured,
manager.
and say, what's a grants? You find grants, lots of grants, right?
That's right.
Your grants.
That's
Got
right.
it. All right.
It's my
Welcome.
gift. Good morning. Morning, Madam Commissioner. Morning, Commissioners. It's a pleasure to be with you. I appreciate having a few minutes of your time to give a quick update on the Foundation's activities and impacts in 2020. As we put the pandemic in the review mirror, hopefully, we're happy to, and actually grateful to have played a pretty significant role in relief and recovery efforts in 2020. And as I walk through some of these numbers, I'm sure you'll see that we were privileged really to be able to jump in and be a nimble resource for emergency relief and recovery efforts. But I think you have what we call our update sheet for your county as part of the packet. Or maybe not.
I have a sheet that doesn't have a lot of information. It just
Okay.
basically says you're going to give us an update.
Well, that's fine. I'm sorry. I thought I passed that sheet on. I'm sorry if I missed that. But I can give you some quick, what I have are some numbers that would be from the inception, the Foundation's inception in 1986 and our impact here in Sherburne County. So always kind of like to start with those. So since 1986, we've collected about $1.3 million in donations from Sherburne County and have returned about $7.5 million in investment back into the county. So the ROI on that is $5.59 per dollar collected from Sherburne County. Always like to highlight that number because it's a goal of ours to capture outside funding and bring it into the region. That's one of the reasons we were established. And so we always kind of pride ourselves in our ability to go find outside funding from other foundations or federal sources, wherever those sources might be, bring them into the county and then put them to work here in our region. And it's important, we always like to highlight as well, we don't feel like we have all the answers from Little Falls. We don't want to come up with a solution and tell everybody what to do. Our goal is to hear from local leaders, what are the challenges, what are the solutions, what are the opportunities, and then how can we leverage funding and help local leaders put those solutions and those ideas to work and empower them to kind of bring those things to reality. So that's kind of, when I talk about this money returned back in, that's really the goal behind it, is to empower those local solutions. You have 521 grants in Sherburne County historically for, it looks like 2.36 million, 356 scholarships for about $300,000, 69 loans for $4.4 million, retaining or creating 706 jobs, and about $30 million in private leverage that we've been able to capture for Sherburne County. You also have 8 what we call partner funds, but they are scholarship funds or community foundations that are hosted with the foundation that are fairly active here in Sherburne County over the years. So happy about that long-term impact and our ability to serve you over the years, and looking forward to continuing that. And I can move on and give you some more specific numbers here for 2020. If anybody has any questions about them, if I raise anything that you're curious about, just feel free to interrupt. We do maintain kind of a robust lending program at the foundation. It's always been a core part of our work. Typically, we do gap financing, so we want to partner with banks to help projects happen that otherwise might not have happened, especially in rural parts of our counties. In 2020, there wasn't a lot of gap financing going on. Businesses were looking for other kinds of support. So DEED approached us and asked us to facilitate an emergency business loan program, which we did. And so here in Sherburne County, we facilitated 10 emergency business loans to small businesses. The total value of those loans was $170,000, and those created or retained 65 jobs in Sherburne County. That was a major initiative for us. Those emergency business loans happened all over the region in 14 counties. It was quite a bit of work for us, but we were happy to do it. So we're hoping to continue to build our own lending work. We feel like it's a significant resource, especially for small businesses across our region. We've hired a new business loan officer, and we're really trying to get out into the more rural parts of our counties to support small businesses, and how can we come alongside and help grow those businesses and strengthen them. So we're looking forward to that as well. Looking forward to, hopefully, like I said, put the pandemic in the review mirror, we hope, and get out and really help businesses grow and recover.
So you'd be looking at bringing forward, what I'm hearing is sometimes when you say like the small business loan programs, through the federal government and the state governments, feel overwhelming to actual small businesses.
Right.
And so they feel they have nowhere to go for any help because they don't really qualify, or do they want to tackle the red tape that goes along with
Correct.
a process of government. So are you filling that niche? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's a really unique role that we're able to fill. We're a CDFI, so a community financial development institution. And so we get grants from the CDFI fund to support lending to small businesses. But those grants also come with funds set aside to provide technical assistance and development services for those folks as well. So that's exactly the point. If someone just didn't have the capacity to pursue that lending, we really want this project to happen, it's out in a rural community, it'd be great for them, they need someone to fill the gap, they're really struggling with all the red tape, the application, et cetera, maybe they're a new entrepreneur, et cetera. So we have the capacity not only to do the gap side of the loan, but to provide the technical assistance and the help that they might need so we can make that project happen. We're really committed to not seeing, especially, across all of our counties, but we don't want to see our small towns just lose businesses that are central to them, critical to their local economies, and they end up just having a gas station and a bar on the corner when they could have had maybe several businesses, but just over time, those businesses weren't able to get the resources they needed, right? So we're trying to keep that from happening.
Thank you.
Yeah. We also, of course, as a foundation, we do a lot of grant making all across the region. Normally, we would do about $2.5 million in a good year in grant making. In 2020, our total grant making approached $11 million. So we were a very busy staff. We're used to having to do a little bit less work. But again, a couple of the big projects that we undertook, DEED again approached us and asked us if we would facilitate a program that they were funding emergency business relief grants. And so this was about $8 million in emergency business relief grants that we provided across all 14 counties. Not quite 800 grants, but again, it was a big project for us. At one point, we had 24 of our 26 staff working on that particular initiative alone. And here in Sherburne County, you saw 40 of those business relief grants come into Sherburne County obviously for a total of $400,000. So we really feel like that was a great resource and a great idea. And in fact, just on a side note, other funders such as Wells Fargo and US Bank have approached us to say, we'd like to support small businesses. Would you be willing to do more loans? And we in fact said, no. If you really want to support small businesses, what you should do is follow this pattern and give us money to give grants to small businesses. If they've struggled with COVID, they really aren't in a position to just take on another loan. They really need that grant funding to support them. And in fact, Wells Fargo is one funder that turned around and said, sure, the grant we were going to give you for emergency business loans, go ahead and turn that into just emergency business relief grants to support small businesses. So this has been kind of a great program that DEED did that we have used to leverage with other funders to say this really is a good idea right now. So we're happy to be a part of that. Additionally, we did a lot of grant making to support childcare providers during the pandemic. That's been a significant initiative for us, supporting access to affordable childcare across the region. We see it in a lot of places as a barrier to retaining a workforce or recruiting a quality workforce. So we made about $27,500 in grants in Sherburne County, supporting early childhood providers, maybe centers, et cetera. So that's a work that is going to continue for us as well into the future. And I think also I would highlight here in Sherburne County, you had about $64,000 in grants come out of your local partner funds that are hosted by the foundation. Three Rivers Community Foundation, a couple scholarship funds. I think you've got a Central Minnesota Builders Association fund that's pretty active in Sherburne County as well. And really, so the emergency business relief loans, emergency business relief grants, our own emergency relief and recovery fund, the emergency relief and recovery efforts of our partner funds, and our work to support child care centers during the pandemic is pretty much the amount of emergency relief and recovery work we did in 2020. And it was pretty consuming for us. It was more than we had usually taken on. And I would just like to say thank you to you for your financial support. We've been telling everyone it's been the consistent financial support from individuals, businesses, cities, and counties that really positioned us to be so strong organizationally so that we could just react to these opportunities and these challenges and just kind of jump in and meet them. So to say, the bottom line didn't have to be the decision-making formula. The mission was able to be the compass, and we were able to say, this is our mission, let's do it, let's get involved. And because of previous support, we were in a strong financial position and organizational position to be able to just kind of jump in and make that happen. Just a few last highlights, and then I will get out of your way today. We continue to make it a priority to build the capacity of local nonprofits. We do this through our Nonprofit Academy training program. We also provide lunch and learns and leaders circles to give nonprofit leadership the opportunity to get together, learn from each other, have high-quality coaching, et cetera. Currently, Sherburne County United Way is participating in Nonprofit Academy, where they receive a lot of coaching, training, and $4,000 in free consulting to develop their fundraising strategies, accounting strategies, et cetera. Nonprofit Academy has been a great program. We're happy to have Sherburne County United Way in the mix. I think we're also facilitating a broadband conference for Region 7W that's coming up. We're happy to get involved in that, and it's kind of a classic example of the ways that the foundation likes to get involved early in projects and kind of help local solutions, as I mentioned earlier, get some motivation, get some feet, get some power behind it, get some support, and kind of let local leaders take it forward. And of course, always like to highlight our continuing work in Becker with the Sherco power plant and talk of decommissioning and what that's going to look like and how that's going to affect that city. I think we've provided about $300,000 in grants to the city and have been able to secure about because of those grants, they were able to secure about $26 million in state bonding for infrastructure investments and exploring how they can diversify the local economy. So we were happy to get involved in that project and support that community. And I think here in Sherburne County also, we partnered with you to provide a hospitality sector relief fund to help reimburse restaurants and bars for costs associated with all the social distancing and limited operating hours and et cetera that you had as a result of the pandemic. So we are happy to continue to do this work. Like I say, we were busy people in the last year, and we're finally just now starting to take a breath. But happy to do it, appreciate your support, and look forward to continuing our partnership as we develop healthy communities and thriving economies across the region. I'd be happy to take any questions if anybody has anything for me.
Any questions for Mr. Newbanks?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
no questions, just kind of a comment, and we appreciate the partnership with the Initiative Foundation, and I think one of the unique things about the Initiative Foundation is every year that they come here and you guys present what you do, it always changes. And I've had the experience of pretty much anything that, we hit a little bit of a snag with or a little bit of a dead end in the community. If we are able to reach out to the Initiative Foundation and see if they're willing to participate, a lot of times you guys have resources. And if you don't, you're able to point us in the right direction to some other partnerships. So I just appreciate how nimble the organization's been over the years in adapting to whatever the challenges of the community are. Like you mentioned, the coal transition piece, sure. The pandemic, obviously, but being nimble enough to serve whatever the communities need at a given time is a great asset to have. So we appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you, and that's part of our mission. Yep. Appreciate it.
Senator Brandt?
And I just want to also say thank you for all of your hard work. I just have always been impressed with what you've been able to do and how nimble you are also with things that Tim was just talking about. And so thank you so much.
Thank you, and please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Any challenges, opportunities, ideas, we love to hear them so we can get involved if possible. So thanks again.
Yeah, and all I'd have to say is concurring with my colleagues. I also have the benefit of having worked with the Initiative Foundation at the local level of city government as well. And it's always a great partnership when we can turn to the Initiative Foundation to help us get through things. So it's great to see it works as well at the county level. You guys do good work, and we appreciate your partnership as well.
Great, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving on then to, this is always fun. The planning department's here.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
before we turn over to Lynn, I'm wondering if the board would consider taking up item 11, the proclamation, simply because we want to get a notice out to the employees as
Okay.
a reminder. Is that okay?
Okay with that, Lynn?
I'm assuming it won't take too long.
Okay.
so.
Okay, we are going to then turn to quick do item number 11 on our agenda in regards to recognizing this day and reading the proclamation to thanking our staff for all of their hard work during the COVID-19 pandemic. And so I'm going to read the resolution number 080321-AD-2057. And this is commending the commitment and dedication to public service excellence of county staff during the COVID-19 pandemic by proclaiming August 3rd, 2021, a day to honor them. Whereas county employees serve as a cornerstone of their communities, dedicating their time, skills, and expertise for the benefit of their neighbors, and whereas the COVID-19 pandemic disrupted county service delivery and program administration, creating uncertainty for the employees and citizens on assessing essential services. And whereas showing exemplary leadership by taking personal risks, assuming new duties and responsibilities, and innovating new modes of service delivery, Sherburne County employees continue providing a vital community service in 2020 and 2021. And whereas through their dedication to their working commitment to public service, Sherburne County employees are keeping our community safer, healthier, and productive. Now therefore, be it resolved that the Sherburne County Board of Commissioners recognizes the commitment and dedication to public service excellence of its staff during the COVID-19 pandemic by proclaiming today, August 3rd, 2021, a day to honor them, and be it further resolved that the Sherburne County Board of Commissioners joins with Governor Tim Walz and other Minnesota communities statewide in this special recognition of county workers. And on behalf of the board, we want to thank you all. And then now we can invite you all to an ice cream social that will happen at 11:45 in the staff cafe. And I will be looking then for a motion to approve this resolution.
Madam Chair, I'll move approval of the resolution.
Motion made by Commissioner Dolan, seconded by Commissioner Brandt. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign, and that motion carries. And like I said, from the bottom of my heart and for the rest of the board, thank you for all you did in 2020 in getting us through this COVID-19 pandemic. We were one of the few counties that stayed open as best we could to provide the services to our residents and in our communities. So thank you for that dedication. All right. Okay, Lynn, we'll go back. We'll go back to item number 6.4, consider the approval of preliminary and final simple plat of Gillickson Edition, James and Sharon Gillickson.
Okay, good morning,
Lynn.
Commissioners and Madam Chair.
Good
These are
morning.
the items from the July Planning Commission. Gullickson, this is in Section 10 of Big Lake Township, in the General Rural District and within the Shoreland Overlay District of Birch Lake, a recreational development lake. Planning Commission recommended approval with the 3 conditions listed.
All right, any questions for Lynn? If not, I'd be looking for a motion then to approve.
Madam Chair, I'll move approval of the simple plat with the conditions outlined.
Motion made by Commissioner Dolan,
I'll second.
seconded by Commissioner Brandt. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Okay, moving on to the next item is item number 6.5. Consider the approval of preliminary standard plat of Elk Lake Oats, NC Contracting Incorporated.
And this is in Section 31 of Baldwin Township. It's in the General Rural District and within the Shoreland Overlay District of Little Elk Lake and Goose Lake. Planning Commission recommended approval with the 6 conditions in your packet.
All right, any questions for Lynn? If not, I would be looking for that motion.
I'll move that we approve the motion with the 6 conditions.
All right, motion made by Commissioner Brandt,
I'll second, Madam Chair.
Seconded by Commissioner Dolan. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Moving on to item number 6.6, consider the approval of preliminary standard plat of Sanford First Edition, Sanford's and Leaseman LLC.
And this is in Section 10 of Baldwin Township in the General Rural Zoning District. Planning Commission recommended approval with the 5 conditions listed in your packet.
All right, any questions for Lynn? Hearing none, I would look for a motion.
Madam Chair, I'll move approval with the 5 conditions outlined in the packet.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Dolan. I'll second.
I'm sorry.
We'll do a little.
Okay.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Moving on to item number 6.7, consider the approval of preliminary standard plat of J&J Meadows, John and Jeff Smith.
And this is in Section 10 of Baldwin Township in the General Rural District. Planning Commission recommended approval with the 5 conditions listed in your packet.
All right, any questions for Lynn? If not, I'd be looking for that motion.
I would make a motion to approve this with the 5 conditions.
Motion made by Commissioner Brandt,
I'll second, Madam Chair.
seconded by Commissioner Dolan. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. All right, moving on to item number 6.8. Consider request for an amendment to the Sherburne County Comprehensive Land Use Map from agriculture to rural residential and amend the county zoning map from agricultural district to shoreland residential district. Lynn.
And this is the John Walker property. It's 10.5 acres in Section 34 of Palmer Township. It's in the agricultural zoning district and within the recreational development shoreland district of Rush Lake. And the Planning Commission recommended both approving the change in the land use map and the county zoning map, and with the findings that are located in your packet.
All right. Any questions for Lynn? Hearing none, I would then be looking for that motion.
Madam Chair, I'll move approval with the 8 findings of fact outlined in the packet.
All right, motion made by Commissioner Dolan,
I'll second.
seconded by Commissioner Brandt. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion carries.
Thank you.
Oh, okay, Lynn. All right, moving on then to item number 6.9 on our regular agenda. Consider the adoption of the Sherburne County ARPA guidelines and procedures.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
And Dan.
Today, I'm seeking approval of the ARPA Guidelines and Procedures document that was included in your packet. Yesterday, the Risk Assessment Committee reviewed it and recommends approval.
All right, any questions for Dan?
No, I just say, I, for one, I won't speak for everybody else, but I appreciate you guys going back to take the time to put together that guiding document. I read through it, and it looks strong, so.
Thank you.
Appreciate that and appreciate having a process to follow. It's going to make it easier in the future, so.
And we will have several approvals for you 2 weeks from today. We had a meeting yesterday, and I think there were 14 items on the agenda, so we'll have a full agenda for you in 2 weeks.
All right.
So this has already got legs. Okay. Any further questions? Hearing none, I would be looking for that motion to approve the, let's see, where is it? Sherburne County Guidelines and Procedures for Use of ARPA and Local Fiscal Recovery Funds.
I so move.
Motion made by Commissioner Brandt,
Madam Chair, I'll second.
seconded by Commissioner Dolan. Any further questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. And is your helper on board yet, or?
Well, I was just going to update you. We're in the process of finalizing the business relief application portal, so we probably will have that live by the end of the week.
Okay.
Based on calls I'm getting, I think I'll be able to handle it short term on my own, so I'll probably delay hiring a consultant for the time being.
Okay. Don't burn out.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Dan. Okay, moving on to discuss planning and zoning department transition and department selection. Bruce.
Thank you, Chair Danielewski, members of the commission. Just a couple of items today. First of all, with Nancy's retirement, the party scheduled for Thursday and our last day Friday.
Is there ice cream?
Is there ice cream? I don't know.
I have no idea what they're doing. You are showing up, right?
She claims she's going to let Lynn, I think, take some of the budget discussion, right? Or are you going to take that directly? So.
I don't know, we're still talking about
All right. But
Depends on how nice.
depends on how the ice cream goes, yeah. But with that, we are recommending that the board appoint Lynn as interim planning and zoning administrator effective essentially August 7th. Lynn has stepped up to the plate and offered to help, and we're really excited that she's done that. It'll create some stability and leadership as we move forward. And so our recommendation is that the board consider appointing Lynn for the time being while we continue the selection process as interim director.
All right, any questions? If not, I would then be looking for that motion to approve the appointment of Miss Lynn Wycheck as an interim planning and zoning administrator.
Madam Chair, I'll move approval.
Motion made by Commissioner Dolan,
I'll second that.
seconded by Commissioner Brandt. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. And thank you, Lynn, for being willing to do that.
Yeah, thank you, Lynn, for stepping up. The second item is just to update the board. We do have the planning and zoning administrator position description out with Nancy's assistance. We've, I think, posted it on several state and websites and made it available. It closes the 15th of August, so there's a couple of weeks left. After discussion with the commissioners, we are recommending kind of the process we've used for other department heads, which is to close the applications and then have a large group do the interviews, which will include other department heads, probably one or two invited colleagues from other counties who understand planning and zoning, and then depending upon the internal candidates, there may or may not be a staff member from the department. Normally, we haven't had commissioners actively involved in the department head interviews, and then, of course, bring a recommendation to you. But I just wanted to ask or to make sure everybody was comfortable with that process. So very similar to what we did with Mary Jo's retirement a year ago. And then on that note, just a note I shared with you also, one of the things that I believe helped Amanda was to create like a leadership team to work with her of peers that she works closely with. So it wasn't just administration and human resources as an access point, but other department heads. And we would envision doing the same with the person who is appointed to this position so that they have a better chance of quickly onboarding. Even if we have an internal candidate move up, the role changes, as you know. I mean, you change chairs and perceptions change. So we want to make sure that there's every opportunity for success. And looking at working with that, Dan has indicated some interest in helping specifically in the land services area. And so I'll be sharing more with the department heads and you, our thoughts on that as we move forward.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I think we're fine sticking with the process that we've used for our other department head hires. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, and we've got some pretty solid department heads out of that process, so I'm more than happy to keep the process as it stands.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I would agree with that.
Yep, and I'm fine with that process as well. It's served us well in the past. I'm sure it'll serve us well going forward. All right. Will that give you your information you're looking for then, Bruce?
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay. See you at ice cream? All right, moving on then to our next item on our agenda is the Commissioner Correspondence and Committee Reports. Who is ready?
I will be.
I can go ahead. So On the 21st, I was at the joint meeting with the Sherburne County Board and the City of Elk River Council. And on the 22nd, I was at the ESC meeting here. And on the 23rd, the Executive Committee meeting for SHAC. And on the 26th, I listened in on a virtual meeting about the opioid settlement at the state level and how that affects counties. And on the Wednesday, we did the drive-through for recognition for Rsvp volunteers. And on the 29th, Council on Aging had their board meeting. And that's it.
I do want to thank you too, Commissioner Brandt, for stepping up. I had planned on attending the RSVP event, but unfortunately the weather at our lake property had other ideas when it knocked over one of the biggest trees on the property. So I was busy up there helping my husband with that effort, so.
Well, I was glad to go.
Yeah, yeah. Even though your ice cream melted, you were good, right?
Even though.
All right, Commissioner Dolan.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I had also the joint meeting between the board and the Elk River City Council, which I think went well. I had to teleconference in, but I think that was a good format, and I think both the city and the county found some substantial value in that, and hopefully it's something we figure out some type of regular cadence with them and maybe some of our other cities that are wanting that type of service as well. Also had Central Mississippi River Regional Planning Partnership, both the regular meeting and executive committee meetings. Yesterday had the Magic Fund meeting, which we officially took action to, we'll say, transfer our contract with PFM to PFM's new home with US Bank. So that transition of US Bank buying PFM going into their investment portfolio will take place in December. But most of the customer-facing contacts that our county and other counties have with the Magic Fund, all of those faces are transitioning, so really not a whole lot will change in the day-to-day activity between the two. So that was adopted yesterday with the Magic Fund, and I think that's about it for me.
All right, thank you. I also, July 21st, attended the Community Corrections Appreciation Event, and that was a good turnout, and that department does amazing things, and they continue to do that through the COVID pandemic as well. So also attended the joint meeting with the Elk River City Council, and I concur with my colleagues. I think that was a very beneficial meeting to have, and I would really encourage the other cities in our county to reach out. We're more than happy to sit down and have those meetings with them as well. And July 22nd, I also did the CMRP meeting that Commissioner Dolan referred to, and also attended the Executive Steering Committee meeting, where we were discussing the process we're going to go through for, what is that called, when we're asking employees for their...
Employee Engagement Survey.
Thank you. I was losing that name. All right. And that was pretty much it, other than helping move a lot of wood. Okay. Now at this time, we will be adjourning our regular meeting at 10:21 and opening up our Regional Rail Authority meeting. So I'd be looking for a review and approve the Regional Rail meeting minutes of January 5th, 2021.
I so move.
Motion made by Commissioner Brandt,
I'll second.
seconded by Commissioner Dolan. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. And then moving on to our second item on the agenda is consider the approval of the 2022 Master Funding and Annual Operating Grant Agreement with the Northstar Link Commuter Bus. Andrew.
Morning, Madam Chair, County Board members. This is the item that historically
county administration and public works have kind of tag teamed on. So appreciate the opportunity. So as you mentioned, we're here to consider the approval of the 2022 Master Funding Agreement and Annual Operating Grant Agreement with Northstar Link Commuter Bus Services. Typically in the past, this has been more of a routine administrative type item. It is slightly different this year. And we note the fact that Anoka County is no longer participating. So there's a slight increase in our quarterly costs for the services. This is something that was discussed a number of months ago and have come to this agreement. MnDOT does pick up 80% of this cost, and then the remaining 20% of the cost is split amongst the remaining counties, which is Hennepin, Stearns, Sherburne, and just those three. No.
Okay. Is this something that is a voluntary participation? Like you can just choose not to participate after you've made an agreement?
So this, Madam Chair, County Board members, this year it is both for the Master Funding Agreement, which is a 5-year agreement.
Mm-hmm.
We had that executed back in 2017. So now we're kind of reissuing that master agreement, and they no longer opted to be a part of that master agreement.
Okay.
And then each year we have essentially a sub-agreement for the annual operating expenses for that annual year.
So they fulfilled the first agreement commitment and
Correct.
choose not to be a part of the second.
Correct.
Okay.
That is correct.
Thank you for that clarification.
Yep. The other note that I should make comment on is the fact that with these changes, the county attorney's office is reviewing and the action would be pending their review and approval of this review.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Commissioner Dolan.
Andrew, can you give me timing on this? Is this time sensitive? And the reason I ask is because it's a 5-year agreement, because we're 2 commissioners short, both of which their opinion on this I find rather valuable. Would it be detrimental to table this until a future meeting?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Dolan, I don't think it would be. I don't know if Commissioner or Administrator Messelt or Dan Weber have an opinion on that. The master agreement does not become effective until January 1, 2022. So I think you would have that opportunity to hold off and have further discussion.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think if the board wants, first of all, there's obviously a larger discussion we've been talking about having about Northstar in the future.
Mm-hmm.
The Anoka decision was really put in place actually 5 years ago. They were just making a token amount. It was what, $5,000, $6,000?
About $6,000.
So that's more symbolic. Generally, where things are shaking down with respect to Northstar is that we probably need to let things settle from COVID to see where they're at. Making a decision now, long-term, might be a little bit premature, but if the board wants to obviously wait and have this revisit, we'll just table it to the next board meeting, yeah.
Madam Chair, and again, I'm not saying I necessarily object to the master agreement or anything of that nature. I just want to make sure. I think it's a big enough decision that's got enough eyeballs on it that having everybody's input would be valuable on this.
Yes, I agree to that. So then I'd be looking for a motion then to table this.
I'll move to table the decision.
Motion made by Commissioner Dolan.
A second.
Seconded by Commissioner Brandt to table this item and bring it back at a future board meeting.
Yeah, until our next meeting, 17th.
Yes, next meeting, okay. All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.
All right, we will adjourn the Regional Rail Authority meeting at 10:26. That means we are ahead of schedule, everybody.
I told you what happens when we.
By quite a bit. Why?
I wonder how that happened.
All right, okay. Yeah, now we've got what, 11:45 is when the ice cream social starts?
Yeah, so you have a little bit of time. Feel free to relax. If you need a place to work or make some phone calls in addition to your offices down here, coffee pot's on up in admin, so. Did you want to?
Yeah, no, we do need to have some. I do agree with you,